Yo, YouTube! Welcome back to another Den Den Boys video. It's Garth.
And Vaughn.
Together we are the Den Den Boys. Well, not together, but you know what I mean, together. We are the Den Den Boys, and we are doing our review, our initial impressions of the Switch 2. It dropped a week ago in Australia. Now, full disclaimer, we actually filmed this on release date in Australia a week ago, just over a week ago. And the tech gremlins got in, we lost all our footage, and we're back here doing it again. So it's not that bad, because we're actually a week. You've had it in your hands for an extra week, and now you can probably talk to a bit more about how the console feels now that you've played it all. So what we're going to do in the video, as we did the first time, we're going to talk about the actual hardware itself. We're going to review that. We're going to review the software that's been released with the Switch launch. And then we're going to talk about, from your point of view, someone who's really hyped for the Switch 2 before launch, got it day one, how you're feeling about it. And for me, how it's changed my opinion of the Switch 2 and whether I'm going to go out and get one. So that's what you'll see. So let's get started, dude. Let's talk about the hardware, man. First of all, obviously, the obvious one is the console itself.
Yes.
How do you rate the console?
Yeah, the console feels amazing. It's weighty. It's quality. The materials have a nice sort of finish. It's bigger. Fits into adult hands. With a bit better and stuff. And yeah, the magnetic Joy-Cons click on really nice. The screen's huge. It's crisp. It's clear. It's bright. Even though it's not OLED, but they seem to sort of make up for that with the quality and the technology. So yeah, straight out of the box, the technology felt awesome.
Yeah, I was going to say, when we first took it out of the box, the first thing you could notice was a noticeable weightiness of the console in comparison to the Switch original. Definitely felt like a premium version of the Switch. An interesting, nice matte finish to the Switch 2 rather than the glossy, colourful, bright colours we expect from Nintendo. They went for like the black matte finish, which was an interesting choice with just a little splash of colour on the Joy-Cons. Yeah, you said the magnetic connection feels a bit way more sturdier. Even the Joy-Cons themselves feel more weighty than the original Joy-Cons. The magnetic click is definitely an upgrade on the slide, which sometimes felt a little bit
dodgy.
Yeah, breakable. If you slammed them in there, maybe that could click or break something. So there was definitely a noticeable improvement in the hardware when we took it out of the box.
And the buttons have a nice sort of large and clicky sort of feel to them too.
And like you said, everything's bigger, everything's brighter, everything's better. I think, like you said, when we opened it, it just felt like it was Switch Premium, maybe rather than a Switch redesign or anything different. It was a premium Switch. Fair?
Yeah. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Just throw more quality at it. Yeah.
And like you said, the screen was a definite noticeable size difference, and there's not much bezeling around that screen. Like the console is all screen.
Yeah.
Brightness and everything, it definitely pops when you're looking at that screen. So all in all, that was pretty cool.
And better speakers too. It sounds better too. They've put better tech into the speakers. So
speakers were
more bass, louder. Yeah, the music sounds better. Yeah,
definitely. In terms of the Pro controller, another nice upgrade.
Yep. Similarly, it's had sort of been pumped up in most specs, and those analogs immediately felt like premium compared to the original Pro controller, which was a very good controller, mind you, but somehow they've topped it. Bigger buttons, sort of different materials, and just different design of analogs. They definitely feel lovely under the thumb. Yeah.
Ergonomically, it was always a really nice controller. The Pro controller this time, like you said, the actual analog sticks had a nice rubbery kind of softness to them. That the original Switch had that sort of clicky, plasticky kind of sound, as well as response. So that was really tight. Again, a nice black controller with a little splash of the white on top was nice. And I really dug the hand grip buttons that they added to the Switch Pro controller this time, which I can see myself mapping depending on the game I'm playing. I reckon they could be a real plus in terms of control method.
And they're usually a really premium feature, like on the DualSense Edge, sort of has them. You're paying kind of $300 for one of those. So.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. So all in all, hardware console itself, Joy-Cons felt nice and weighty and bigger in the hand. Yeah, like I said, the screen's great. The new Pro controller was great. The dock was an upgrade as well.
Yeah.
From the original Switch, the cooling fans and all that sort of stuff, all that little technical stuff that goes in. But it was a nice little upgrade on top of what it was previously. So yeah, all in all, I was impressed with the console, dude. It was definitely, like you said, felt like a Switch premium. We knew we weren't going to get anything revolutionary and new, but we were expecting better quality.
No redesign, no extra motion controls, but yeah, like just more of what you love, but bigger, better, high quality.
Yeah, cool. So then we go to this. If we talk about the hardware, we get to talk about the software. Now, in Australia, as with every launch, it launched with Mario Kart World, which was the big seller. There was the Donkey Kong games not out yet, but there was a lot of the old re-release games that are coming out to the Switch 2 weren't previously on the Switch. The download game that we played a lot of, which was Fast Racing Fusion, the Fast Racing Neo game, was on the Wii U. What did you make of the Welcome to Switch? Is that what it's called?
Yeah, the Switch 2 sort of edutainment, sort of educational software.
Yeah, the tech demo, basically.
Yeah. So yeah, the launch lineup possibly a little bit lacking in sort of first-party titles, as in there's kind of only one. But plenty of sort of pro patches to upgrade, the games you know and love, like Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, Breath of the Wild, and a host of others. Some of those are paid upgrades. Depending on your tier of membership, some of them are free. And as well as there's a few free ones that just general sort of quality improvements on other games. But overall, possibly the launch lineup a little bit lacking in volume, shall we say. The launches of yesteryear, you might expect 5 or 10 brand new launch games for that system, never released before, but instead we've got a much smaller lineup with pro patches, remasters, and Mario Kart World.
So how are you feeling about first of all, let's talk about Mario Kart World. Like, you've played it now for a week. How are you feeling about Mario Kart World? You're a massive Mario Kart 8 fan. How are you feeling about Mario Kart World?
Yeah, look, it's amazing. It's more of what you know and love, but just with extra quality sort of poured in. I suppose the big thing this time is the free roam open world sort of mode, which oddly there's not a big sort of logo for that on the title screen.
No, we could find it early.
Hit the plus button from the title screen, and it sort of takes you in there. So that gives you a new way to play, open world, sandboxy, sort of drive around the whole maps, off the course, not racing, but there's this piece which kind of challenges where you kind of hit a blue switch and then sort of collect 8 coins, win a mini race, different things. So, and yeah, of course, the huge increase in the roster. So you now race 24 races, which increases the mayhem, the carnage, and everything in between. The tracks are a lot more intricate, a lot more shortcuts. There's now grinding on the rails.
The rails, yep.
Yeah, a lot more unlockable costumes. You're no longer customizing the carts with the wheels and the different parts. They're sort of set vehicles, but there's dozens of them, so they all have their own.
What about the characters now?
Yeah, a whole lot of new characters, a whole lot of crazy ones you can play as the enemies. Like everyone's in there, and then some. So yeah, look, if you love Mario Kart, this is bigger, better, high quality, with a lot of sort of quality of life improvements, and but yeah, it doesn't. Apart from the open world mode, it's sort of just a larger roster of races.
And speaking of Zelda, like you've been playing a lot of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom before the Switch 2 came out, and you were sort of saying you could see a noticeable difference in the upgrades. Coming from having played it a long time ago, I couldn't really pick it. What would you say the biggest noticeable difference is?
What's a lot sharper. It's had a big resolution bump, a frame rate bump, and the load times have been cut down a little bit. So yeah, it hasn't sort of drastically reworked them, but if you've sort of been playing it on Switch 1 recently and then look at this, it's kind of like been given a pair of reading glasses and everything's just sharper and the clarity's sort of back.
It's not groundbreakingly different. I mean, it was a good looking game in the first place. So
those games are amazing, and they played amazingly well on Switch One. Which is
totally, 100%
a testament to that tech. So yeah, look, this is just pumping them up a little bit so they're kind of brighter, faster, sharper. But they're amazing not because of their performance. They're amazing because of the design and the gameplay, and that hasn't changed.
Yeah. Shout out though to Fast Racing Fusion, which is a new one. That looked amazing on the Switch 2. That really looked to me. I mean, I'd have to look at the specs, but that clearly felt like a 4K game when it was in dock mode on the TV. Phenomenal. I mean, Fast Racing Neo was a great game. Fast Racing Fusion, fantastic game for $20.
Yeah.
That's the kind of stuff we wanted to see on the Switch to bump out the lineup, because other than Mario Kart, there isn't a lot.
Yeah, it's definitely a racing theme for launch, and the new Fast Racing Fusion game was definitely, I think, in many ways saved the launch in that
probably
it was the right price. It was impressive. It was exciting. It was brand new, exclusive Switch 2 game. So yeah, shout out to Shinen Entertainment for dropping that at launch.
We got to talk about software. The pricing of the Switch 2 games on the downside, ridiculous. Ludicrous. Yeah. I mean, some of the games like Cyberpunk dropping for, what was it, not $89 or something on the Switch shop. That's just for a digital copy. It's absurd. There's so many games that have been ported to the Switch 2 that are full price games that have been out for so long. Just unbelievably expensive.
I don't know what they're doing. I mean, even the cost of the console is pretty dear too. Like when all things considered, I think the elephant in the room, that takes a little bit of shine off the Switch 2 launch is the pricing of the games and the console.
Crazy.
It's almost like they were like, well, the console's a little bit overpriced, so the games have got to be a little bit overpriced or something.
Yeah, it's crazy.
You lower those a bit, and you would sort of add.
Yeah. Can understand the Nintendo tax, but not putting it on other games is just crazy.
Yeah.
All right, so we talked about the software. I mean, other than the games, obviously the actual software, the user interface is exactly the same. They haven't really added anything. We didn't play around with the C button, chat button, or anything like that. But
I think the eShop's been streamlined a little bit, so it runs.
A little bit.
It's you get in it. The old eShop weirdly used to sort of freeze and pause when you were going in and out of menus. So they've just patched it, I think, so it operates as it should, like the PlayStation, store, where it's just smoother. So I don't know why it took the Switch 2 to make the eShop run smoother, but yeah, I have noticed, and it's smoother running. Yeah.
So we talked about hardware, talked about software, likes and dislikes. We should probably talk about how you're feeling a week in, dude. Like you were a big Switch 2 fan. You were keeping your hands on it from day one. I was sitting on the fence. How are you feeling a week in? Is it just that you're like, glad I made it?
Oh, totally. Like I'm totally in love with this thing. I've traveled with it now on a few flights, and it's never too far from me. And when I get back to the hotel room, it's the first thing I grab. And the flights are just, I haven't even noticed the turbulence on the flights, it's just one of those things where you're just in the zone with it. The novelty of the size increase is still up there, and the new Mario Kart, being a huge fan, is still blowing my mind. There's lots of 150cc Grand Prix to Triple Star, and the new sort of knockout mode. That's another
knockout mode was really cool.
That brand new mode, and it's awesome. So yeah, it's a lot of fun. So no, it's met my expectations, and I'm just loving the size and the feel. And look, even though it's a small lineup, being such a huge fan, and the one game that was there for me, so can't really complain. And I'm loving it.
Yeah, look, I was impressed. Look, I really like it. I think the best way we can set it, we've said it before, is that it feels like Switch Premium. So in that sense, I think it's great, but do I need it to replace my Switch? Probably not. That may change in the future when those first party titles drop and we get a really big catalogue of games that I'll have to jump in. But at the moment, to just play Mario Kart for a premium Switch, it still hasn't changed my mind to go and grab one. That's not to say that it's not a good console. It's just it hasn't swayed me to or wowed me enough to go, yeah, I should actually go and grab one. But not hating on it. I know there's been a bit of hate for the Switch, but I'm not hating on it. I think it's good for what it's aiming for.
I mean,
definitely an improvement.
It's breaking all sorts of sales records.
Yeah, it is, which is wild. Yeah. Because there's been so much people hating on it, but yet it's doing really, really well. So Nintendo's probably don't care what people are out there saying. If they're selling consoles, that's what they're in the business of. So they'd be happy.
If you build it, they will come.
Yeah, that's pretty much it, right? And yeah, they're selling nostalgia, and they're doing a great job of it. So yeah, fingers crossed that they can bring out some good first-party titles, and then bring all those haters back, and we'll be jumping on the bandwagon. There you go. All right, dude. So you're giving it thumbs up. You're stoked with the Switch 2. I'm saying good console, but do your research first, see if it's for you. But all in all, it's a very good launch console, and good things in the future, hopefully from Switch 2. There you go. That was the Switch 2 initial thoughts. Hope you enjoyed the video. Those people who are checking it out, thank you. We appreciate you. Do all that great YouTube stuff. Like, share, subscribe, and hopefully tell us what you think about the Switch 2 if you're loving it. And then hopefully we'll see you very soon again, back together for a Den Den Boys video. Peace.